What if I told you that one of the most iconic toy companies in the world, the brand behind childhood creativity and the unmistakable click of two plastic bricks, was just a few months away from total collapse? This is the story of how Lego, a company loved by millions, found itself spiraling toward bankruptcy in the early 2000s, and how it made one of the greatest corporate turnarounds in modern history. Lego's story begins in 1932, in a small Danish town called Billund. A carpenter named Ole Kirk Christensen started crafting wooden toys during the Great Depression. He named his company Lego from the Danish words leggot, meaning play well. By 1958, Lego had created the stud-and-tube interlocking brick system we all know today, a simple, durable design that would become one of the most successful toys in history. Throughout the late 20th century, Lego grew into a global powerhouse, selling to over 130 countries, producing theme parks, and becoming a symbol of childhood imagination. But then, things started to fall apart. The late 1990s should have been a golden era for Lego. The company was a household name, beloved by generations, and its colorful bricks had become a symbol of creativity and imagination around the world. Children everywhere spent hours building castles, spaceships, and entire worlds from simple plastic pieces. Parents trusted Lego to inspire their kids, and the brand seemed unstoppable. But beneath the surface, trouble was brewing. Instead of enjoying continued success, Lego was about to face one of the most challenging periods in its history. The company's leadership was growing increasingly anxious as sales began to stagnate and cracks started to appear in the business model. What should have been a time of celebration quickly turned into the beginning of a financial nightmare. The root of the problem was a loss of focus. Lego began to drift away from its core identity, brick-based creativity, and tried to do too much all at once. The company's leaders, eager to keep up with changing trends and new competitors, made a series of risky decisions that would have lasting consequences. Here's what went wrong. First, overexpansion. Lego launched a dizzying array of new ventures, from clothing lines and watches to theme parks, video games, and even a publishing division. The company hoped to transform itself into a lifestyle brand, reaching far beyond the toy aisle. But these new businesses were expensive to launch and difficult to manage. Many of them failed to connect with Lego's core audience, and most struggled to turn a profit. None of it was profitable. The investments drained resources from the core business, and the returns simply weren't there. Theme parks required massive upfront costs and ongoing maintenance. Clothing and watches failed to capture the magic of the bricks. Video games and books were lost in a crowded market. The company was spreading itself too thin, and the financial strain was starting to show. Second, product overload. By 1999, Lego was releasing hundreds of new sets each year, far more than ever before. The shelves were packed with options, from simple starter kits to massive, intricate models. On paper, more choices should have meant more sales, but in reality, it overwhelmed customers and retailers alike. The complexity confused kids and parents alike, not to mention it was a logistics nightmare. Children struggled to choose from the endless options, and parents found it difficult to keep up with the latest releases. Retailers had trouble stocking and displaying so many different products, leading to cluttered shelves and unsold inventory piling up in warehouses. Third, design chaos. In an effort to make each set unique, Lego's designers created thousands of new, specialized pieces. The number of unique Lego elements exploded from around 6,000 to over 12,000 in just a few years. This made sets more complicated to produce and harder for kids to use creatively. Manufacturing and inventory costs skyrocketed. Factories had to keep track of an ever-growing list of parts, and warehouses filled up with unsold stock. The company was hemorrhaging money, and the financial pressure was mounting with each passing quarter. In 2003, Lego reported a staggering loss of $300 million, its worst financial year ever. The news sent shockwaves through the company and the toy industry. For the first time, people began to wonder if Lego's days as a beloved brand were numbered. They were sitting on an empire, made of bricks that were starting to crumble. The future of Lego was suddenly uncertain, and the company faced a daunting question. Could it rebuild itself before it was too late? By 2004, the situation was dire. Lego was $800 million in debt, and many believed bankruptcy was inevitable. The company had to make a tough decision. It fired almost one-third of its workforce and sold off several assets, including its theme parks. The Christensen family, still owners of Lego, took a bold step. They hired a turnaround specialist, someone outside the Lego culture. His name was Jørgen Vig Knudstorp. He wasn't a toy maker. He was a former McKinsey consultant, and he was about to become Lego's first non-family CEO. Knudstorp's message was clear. Lego had lost its way. The company, once a symbol of creativity and play, had become bogged down by complexity and confusion. Sales were falling, and the brand's identity was fading. Knudstorp knew that to save Lego, he needed to make bold, sometimes painful decisions. He had to strip away the excess and rediscover what made LEGO special in the first place. So, what was his approach? First, cut the fat. He slashed around 30% of LEGO's product portfolio. This wasn't just about reducing numbers, it was about focusing on what truly mattered. By eliminating underperforming and overly complicated products, LEGO could concentrate its resources on the sets and themes that resonated most with fans and families. Thousands of specialty pieces were discontinued. These unique parts, while interesting, had made production expensive and inventory management a nightmare. By letting go of these, LEGO simplified its supply chain and made it easier for builders to find the pieces they needed. Next, it was back to the brick. The focus returned to the classic LEGO brick, which is imaginative, creative, and universal. The simple brick had always been the heart of LEGO, sparking endless possibilities for builders of all ages. By doubling down on this core element, LEGO reignited the magic that had captivated generations. Then, listening to fans became a priority. Knudstorp and his team realized that the people who loved LEGO the most often had the best ideas. They started reaching out, holding events, and gathering feedback from kids, parents, and lifelong enthusiasts. Instead of just creating what they thought kids wanted, LEGO began engaging directly with fans, including adult LEGO builders. This shift meant that new sets were inspired by real builders' dreams and desires, not just corporate guesses. The company even launched platforms where fans could submit their own designs, some of which became official LEGO sets. This new openness fostered a sense of community and belonging, making fans feel like they were truly part of LEGO's story. It was a powerful way to rebuild trust and excitement around the brand. And finally, outsourcing. LEGO outsourced non-core functions like manufacturing and logistics to third parties, which, honestly, cut costs dramatically. By letting experts handle these areas, LEGO could focus on what it did best: designing and inspiring play. LEGO moved from chaos to clarity, from ego to empathy, from clutter to simplicity. The company's culture shifted too. Employees were encouraged to listen, learn, and innovate together. And it actually started to work. Sales began to climb, and the world started to fall in love with LEGO all over again. The company's bold new strategy didn't just save LEGO, it set the stage for a whole new era of creativity and connection. By 2007, LEGO had pulled off what many thought was impossible: a full financial turnaround. After years of struggle and uncertainty, the company was not just surviving, but thriving. Profits were up, and the mood inside LEGO's headquarters had shifted from anxiety to optimism. This remarkable recovery didn't happen by accident. It was the result of bold decisions, creative thinking, and a willingness to adapt to a changing world. One of the most important moves was embracing licensing. The LEGO Star Wars line, first introduced in 1999, was a game-changer. Suddenly, LEGO wasn't just about bricks. It was about stories, characters, and universes that kids already loved. The sets flew off shelves, and LEGO found itself at the center of a pop culture phenomenon. Star Wars fans, both young and old, flocked to stores to build their favorite ships and scenes, and the partnership brought LEGO into millions of new homes. Building on that success, LEGO expanded its licensing strategy. Soon, Harry Potter, Marvel superheroes, and Disney princesses were all getting the LEGO treatment. These partnerships opened up entirely new worlds of play, attracting fans from every corner of the globe. Each new theme brought fresh excitement, and LEGO's shelves became a showcase for the most beloved characters in entertainment. But LEGO didn't stop at licensing. As the world became more digital, the company faced a big question: how could it stay relevant in an age of screens and smartphones? Instead of abandoning its iconic brick, LEGO found ways to blend physical play with digital experiences. They introduced sets that worked alongside apps and encouraged families to build together, both on the table and on the tablet. Video games became another pillar of LEGO's comeback. Titles like LEGO Star Wars and LEGO Indiana Jones weren't just fun, they were massive hits, selling millions of copies and introducing LEGO to a whole new generation of gamers. These games captured the humor and creativity of LEGO, letting players build, explore, and laugh their way through familiar worlds. Perhaps most importantly, LEGO began listening to its fans in new ways. With the launch of LEGO Ideas, the company invited builders everywhere to submit their own set concepts. This wasn't just a marketing gimmick, it was a genuine invitation for fans to help shape the future of LEGO. If a project gathered enough votes from the community, LEGO would actually turn it into a real product. This approach sparked a wave of creativity and made fans feel like true partners in the brand's success. Some of the most unique and beloved sets in recent years have come directly from fan submissions. And then in 2014 came the LEGO Movie, a surprise hit that became a cultural phenomenon. The film reminded the world just how imaginative, playful, and downright fun LEGO could be. It inspired a new generation of builders, drove billions in set sales, and cemented LEGO's place as a global icon. The rebuild was complete, and LEGO was once again at the top of its game. Today, LEGO is not just a toy company. It's a global brand with annual revenue of over $9 billion. They've committed to sustainability, pledging to eliminate all single-use plastics and develop bricks made from recycled materials. They're also expanding into education and STEM, helping kids learn coding, robotics, and problem-solving through play. From a near-bankruptcy to becoming the #1 toy company in the world, LEGO's comeback is, honestly, one for the history books. The brick is simple, but the story behind it is anything but. LEGO's rise, fall, and rebirth shows us something powerful, that innovation isn't just about doing more, it's about doing what matters. In the end, LEGO didn't need to reinvent the toy industry. They just needed to rediscover the joy of playing well. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe for more interesting videos like this.